50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at betsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. Welcome to Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. You are once again back in the flow with Carol, Kevin, Joe. Good morning, Mr. Daly, Mrs. Crew.
Good morning, Mr. Langoni. Welcome back.
Thank you. Always nice to be back from my special assignments.
Yeah, you miss me. I mean, we missed
well,
you.
I did miss.
You did miss me.
It is true. I do miss you when
we missed you, and my sidekick as well probably missed you as well.
Joe,
Joe, you missed it last week.
Programming, no.
Was it last week? Last week we had a great show, but I was introduced.
Here last week?
Oh wait,
Oh,
the
the
week
week
before.
before.
No,
Yeah, you weren't here last week. We had
No,
a
but the-
4-hour Bobby G special that
right.
you guys, were scarce on.
That's right.
well, the
We're-
week before when you
We
were
did
Rocket
invite
Man.
everybody.
Well, he is the host.
You did, but it's that's a.
We taped it in the afternoon.
There
so.
is nothing worse than a short week in public education.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But Pete, the week you were being Rocket Man, and,
Yeah.
and the kids ran the show, which they did a great job. We were talking, and somehow Carol led me to. She forced me to say that I was the host, and I said my co-host, or did I say sidekick?
Oh, no. It was sidekick. Let's be clear what my position is here.
I
You
think
they're
you
both
finished it.
They're
It said
synonymous
sidekick.
terms.
Yes, it's not a
I'm
derogatory
like the
term
Ed
either.
McMahon.
Yes.
I just sit here and laugh.
Anyway, we had a good time, and
You
now
guys
this
missed
is-
a hell of a time down in Florida, man. That was awesome.
Well, I think I would have liked to have gone there instead.
Missed
That
a hell of
was
a time. You can't
Ouch.
miss something if you weren't invited.
That was awesome. It
Well,
was
I was
literally awesome.
I was invited, Joe. If I sat back with the cargo on the trip down, that was
no.
Pete threw that out to me.
No, it's first class or it's nothing at all.
Well, it was a successful rocket launch, Pete.
Oh my God, it was impressive. I mean, it wasn't without its problems. They had to send a.
Like so many other things in life.
They had to send what's called a red team out to the pad with the rocket fueled, or at least almost 100% fueled, to fix a leaky valve on the pad, so they could do the launch. And it launched
Mildly
47 minutes.
terrifying.
47 minutes. These guys are specially trained so they don't blow the thing up. But
Yeah.
but it was pretty cool seeing them wave to the camera as they're entering the pad with the thing fully fueled. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. But it launched at 1:47 in the morning, which was a little tough. We were on the air for about 7 hours.
Wow.
That's a lot of time to fill.
That is.
Yeah.
Yep. But the NASA administrator walked by and he said, "That's a pretty cool setup you got there."
Nice. Well, you're back, and the kids did great. Curtis and who was there? Emily was here. So,
Yeah, I'd like to have. I talked to Mr. Forney. I'm going to cease production on Tiger Talk as of January 1st, and the students are going to take it over. Otherwise, you guys don't go. How's that?
I love it.
I've been trying to get to this point in a nice way.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, this is how it's going to happen.
Are you breaking up with us, Pete?
No, but I want the kids to take over their own show.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I mean that's why that's part of the reason we got this
That's
going
it.
here.
Gradual release of responsibility, Mr. Daly.
That's.
I'd
good
love
news.
for them to come in every morning at 8 o'clock and say, "Mr. Coles, you're relieved," but that's not going to happen.
Well,
just
maybe
yet.
sometime we'll
Soon
get
that
to
will.
that. Yeah.
Soon that will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Well, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Get there.
Obviously, Pete, nobody's doing it as good as you, but the transitions, the music.
I think
all that
Emily
stuff.
was here, right?
Yep, and she did a good job.
And
so.
I paid her for it too.
Nice.
Very nice.
She made money.
We had Mr. Barros on last week, or 2 weeks ago,
2 weeks
sorry.
ago.
And he did a great job, the origami specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Very
I
impressive.
was able to.
Oh, you
get
did
it-
watch it? Yeah.
Well, I was able
Some
to.
of
It took a little more time because Pete was away, but I was able to get it up
yeah.
onto the Facebook page and my live feed. And
I think we're still the #1 show on community radio, WSKB 89.5.
no surprises there. I mean, look
The
at our competition
previous
after
show,
all.
apparently, Mrs. Groom, the previous show, Bobby G,
Yep.
was trying to throw some shade at us a little bit.
That's okay.
Yep, that's
Friendly
what happens when you're on
competition.
top. When you're on top, those
Yeah,
things.
friendly
happen.
competition is worth it.
So we're gonna have Danny Knappik on
I
hopefully
believe
soon.
he's
Oh, is he here?
Be here.
Oh, we'll pump him in.
I just don't know where he is.
Why don't you?
He's hanging out
I
with.
just wanted to
he's catching
mention
up with
really
Pete.
quickly.
Yeah, go ahead while we
that
get him.
When I was on the last time that you broadcasted, the special assignment, Mr. Talumis and I were in Holyoke at the annual
Perfect.
Girls in the
Yeah.
Trades event. Girls in the Trades is an event that this is actually the first live one since COVID, which happens every year. There's usually 2 of them, one in the eastern part of the state and one in the western part of the state, and it's an opportunity for all of the trade associations and unions to come out and sort of advertise for interest and membership from women, young women, the students that we're training here in non-traditional areas. So we see the Construction Workers Union, the International Brotherhood of Electricians, and so on and so forth. And it provides a really awesome opportunity for our non-traditional students, our female students, to see what kind of opportunities are available for them on the other side of the walls of high school. And I think the biggest takeaway for our girls, as many of them said to me on the way back from Holyoke that afternoon, was, first of all, we didn't realize there was that much available to us. And secondly, we didn't realize that even if an area that was advertised, like plumbing or electrical wiring or something, wasn't what we're currently studying, there are avenues of, there are points of entry. So even if I trained, for example, in culinary, and I decided that I wanted to explore the possibility of becoming a skilled laborer, there are opportunities for apprenticeships and potential for great growth. So it was just an awesome afternoon. And I will say, not because they're mine, but because it's the truth, our girls, by far, there were 18 different city and regional vocational technical high schools represented. By far, our girls were the most engaged and the most professional. And
Not a surprise.
I kind of made my way around and checked in with some of the folks at the booths, and the compliments that I received for the way our girls carried themselves and showed interest and got engaged with people were phenomenal. So, again, not because they're ours, but because that's who they are.
How many girls do we have, Joe?
We
20?
took 25.
25 girls.
25, and then Mr. Talumis and I, blessed were we among women, and we had a great afternoon.
Yeah, the girls came back. I saw some the next day, I think, at lunch duty, and they are all talking how they had a great time, and they were looking forward to some of the. Did we send juniors? We did, right?
We did.
Some of the juniors talking about
We
going.
sent juniors and seniors, and actually there were a couple of sophomores sprinkled in too.
Yeah, so they were talking about going next year too. So that was great. Good thing we do. We've been doing the girls in the trade for as long as I remember.
As long as I've been
Yeah.
here, for sure.
Yeah, so it's a great thing, and it promotes the girls that are in the non-traditional female shops, which are half of them here, right?
Easily.
Say, yeah. So it's going great. We got our guest here. He made it in. Former mayor, former city councilor. Now, are you the president of the?
I am. I'm the president of the WTA PVO.
The Parent Volunteer Organization, not to be confused with Parent PTO.
PTO, Parent Teacher Organization.
But we do have some teachers. Our teacher liaisons are Monica Tribus, our school nurse, and Lindsay Grimsley. So we have it's a cooperation of all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we just had our annual craft fair, right, Dan?
We did. It was outstanding effort once again by the combined effort of the staff, Lindsay and Monica, and And a special shout out to the custodial staff, Dan Burns and Jeff Trench, and one other gentleman came in, I think, at the end of the day to clean up. And, of course, all my volunteers and the crafters.
Yeah.
And the visitors who spent all their money.
Did I read that we had set over 70 tables? Or
We actually, so we're kind of slowly coming back from COVID.
Yeah.
COVID kind of knocked us back to about 70 or thereabouts. So I'd gone to Joe Rouse in the health department a while back, asked if they were okay with a little bit more, and we ended up with 117 this year. So that was good. We had been years ago before COVID up to 175, and I think everybody would be in agreement that nobody wants to go back to that big again.
Right.
Down the line, it was a little bit more unmanageable, but I think for next year, I'm going to ask Joe if we can go up to about 140.
Well, one of the first things I noticed when I got here about 12:15. I came right after Mass. I parked in horticulture because I wanted to avoid Smith Avenue. And when I came through the door into the hallway, the lights were off and the doors were closed. And I said, I know I have the right day because in years gone by, we went that far. We went
Right.
the entire length of the building.
So one of the things COVID has done for us, actually, it gave us a traffic pattern to follow, So what some of the crafters that were like in dead-ended hallways would complain about is they would get bypassed. So we have a pretty good rhythm, a good flow now, and we're going to work in the off-season to come up with a more improved layout, maybe a few more booths in the gym. Maybe in the cafeteria, but also work on the pattern, because one of the things we're mindful of is if we're inviting people in to display their wares, we want to make sure they get good traffic.
Right.
The flow of traffic was definitely, the movement was definitely
used
better
to
than
always
I
be
recalled before.
always
COVID.
be a log jam in certain areas, and you couldn't get by. I will throw out, have we ever thought about using upstairs, the second floor, when you come in from the upper parking lot?
I don't remember the day when they used to, but I was told that we used to do that, but it's so big up there that it's hard to manage the number of volunteers. Like we had probably 6 PVO staff there most of the day. I got here at 6:30, as most of the parent volunteers did, and then we go to like 4:30 when everybody closes up. So it's a long day. That's something we could look at if we knew we could manage it properly.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, at $65 a booth, it's a bargain.
Yeah.
And all the crafters that came back to us had said that they had a great show. Last year there was a lot of pent up demand, but this one was even better for all the crafters, so that was good. So real quick though on the numbers, it looked like we generated on the craft fair, we had roughly in the neighborhood of about $8,000 between booth sales and the raffle. And of course the raffle was crazy because we had, like I said, 117 crafters. They each donate one craft. We put it on a table and we start calling the names. We ended up calling like 49 rounds of names, and it took all day to get through it.
Yeah.
I bet.
But it raised over $1,100.
Wow.
So it was a great turnout. We're very happy. We're already going to have a meeting in a couple of weeks to talk about new and improvements for next year.
And all the money you make on this, what does that go to? What does that get allocated to?
So the unique part, I think, about PVO and the parents that started it years ago is it all has to be, whatever we spend the money on, kid-centered, student-centered requests. And in the past, things that have been asked have been some asked by administration for like Skills USA. I think one year it was like radio or handy talkies or something. But most of it we'll put aside for scholarships. So last year we had $5,000 we allocated out of the budget to give out 18 scholarships. And generally what we do is for every student that takes the time, because the application is not easy.
Right.
It takes some effort to go in and do that. We're going to award you some money. And the top scholarships were, I think we gave out 2 or 3 500, and it went down to like 250 or thereabouts. But we also sponsor staff appreciation, the senior breakfast, and the senior gift. We're looking to do the same thing this year as well. So, that's if there's another ask that comes that's related to the students, we'll certainly entertain that as well.
I can certainly think of a great one that we had my first or second year here. The PVO shared the cost with Westfield Bank for the marquee, the digital marquee out in front of the building. So that was a fantastic, because we would never have been
Which
able
we
to
need Miss Lekrensky back for.
Well,
No,
He says, "Have a great summer."
no, that's not. That's
No.
not because of Miss.
we have
Oh,
we have
oh,
we
the
have
programming.
we have a part that has been
Oh.
on order and we have supply chain issues.
I
Which
did
I'm
not know.
glad, I'm glad that's been brought up here
Yes.
today, because that's been, everybody wonders why we're wishing everybody a happy summer and when school starts August 31st. So
But as
now
I
we
was
know,
as
missing
I was
part.
told, we can't shut it off either.
Yeah, isn't that odd?
Weird.
The bright red.
Technology.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, making our lives more difficult.
Well, and also, Dan, you also were extremely helpful last year in the Rob Alari scholarship as well. So
Yeah, so the good news there is today the thank you notes to almost 100 donors will go out today in the mail. In that fund, the donors raised almost $20,000.
wow.
And last year, as you remember, we gave out 3 scholarships. Administration went through the process of identifying 3 students. One was at 1,000, and one was at 2 were at 500, right?
Yep.
So that was very successful. And I talked to Karen about that. She was over the moon happy
Yeah.
with that. Same with her kids, with Rob's kids, his daughters. And so going forward, we're really close to taking that money, or a good sum of it, because we want to save some for this upcoming graduating year, and put it into an investment fund. As you know, the stock market is like horrendous right now. So I've been on the sidelines kind of waiting, but one of the next meetings we're going to have to vote on an investment policy, much like Dollars for Scholars. We'll put probably something like $15,000 of that money into an endowed principal fund, and then from there going forward, when any future donations come in, it'll go to that fund, and then we'll draw scholarships from that principal in the years going forward. And the PVO, one of the things we have a pretty healthy balance too now. And one of the things that our only fundraiser for PVO is the craft fair, really, or whatever donations we get. We have a nice almost $1,000 donation from G&E last year, and whatever else comes in through the community. But one of the things I'm mindful of is that energy and effort that it takes every year. So we're going to take some money and put it into from the regular PVO funds into an endowed fund, so that the PVO money also can perpetually give a scholarship out to students down the line. And what I'd like to be able to do is work with some of the shop councils. What's the
advisory
Program advisory committees.
Yeah, and work individually with the companies that they all represent to see if they would like to, just like Dollars for Scholars, that's typically named after a family, an individual. But in this case, we'd like to see if they would be interested in endowing or providing money for an endowed scholarship on behalf of their company.
That's great.
Right,
Wow.
because they're all taking our
Right.
kids,
Right.
And I just thought, we're just trying to move in a way that makes it more sustainable for the future,
It's a great idea. Yeah, and perfect segue right there, because he's talking about the industries and the companies that we have kids out in co-op with, and not only is he PVO dad, and he's president, two kids here,
kids.
which I want to ask you a question about. But the other thing is that you're also a co-op
Yes.
co-op participant as
Yeah.
well. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we have 2 young men, Manny and Joel. They started with us over the summer. We paid them as part-time regular summer help.
Yep.
Our IT staff at the time consisted of one gentleman. His name is Carlos Landro. He's a tremendous, hardworking guy, but we had over 300 employees at the time. So he would come to me, what can we do for help? What can we do for help? And we connected Carlos and our HR director at the time, Victoria McCabe, with you and Kevin Grimsley,
Yep.
and then eventually with Lindsay. And we worked out initially we would employ them for the summer and then get them on co-op when the fall started, and they've been going every other week. And I was happy. I believe it's Manny that plays soccer too,
Yes.
right? I had heard early in the season that he was having trouble juggling that, but Carlos did tell me that he was able to go back onto the team, I
He
believe.
did. Yes.
Right, that's wonderful, because one of
Yeah.
the things, a tough choice for any kid is to work or play sports. And, years ago, funny story, I had a chance to do that, and I took to work, and that team, baseball team at the time, came like within one game of the Babe Ruth World Series, and I never have forgiven my dad for that, right? Because it's like, Dad, you could have
Why didn't you let him
me,
play?
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but anyways, it's
That's a struggle we navigate
yeah,
with the kids every
absolutely
year.
do, but they're wonderful. And actually, I just talked to Carlos yesterday about continuing their employment with us after
Excellent.
graduation, and we're very happy with them.
What's the name of the
Thank
company,
you for
Dan?
that.
It's Partners for Community, and it's a management company that you might know some of its affiliates. One of the most popular one is the New England Farm Workers Council, and the farm workers, they used to run a daycare voucher program in Pioneer Valley for that's about a $65 million program for all the daycare in this area, and then fuel assistance and shelter housing, emergency shelters. We run 71 apartments. But a big part of what we do is workforce development and training. We have about 300 kids enrolled in different workforce courses during the course of the year. The age bracket's typically 16 to 24. A lot of it, we have one program just for young mothers to get them back on their feet and get them out into the workforce. But summertime, we employ over 500 kids in the Pioneer Valley. And I want to talk to you about, we have an allocation for, I think, up to 10 kids from Westfield to take them on, and we pay them about minimum wage, $15 or $16 an hour, and we place them in different work sites in the Springfield, Holyoke, Chicopee, and Westfield area. And we have counselors. There's always room for counselors. All you have to be is 18 and apply. So I'm going to reach out to you when that effort starts, usually in April.
Definitely.
And we want to get some Westfield kids on that program.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of great things are happening. Thanks for taking our kids on. I mean, they're doing great. And that was the Manny thing was he was a big decision, and it's a lot to ask the kids to give up your sports or give up your extracurricular activities to go work at 17 or 18.
Yeah, we're real flexible as an employer.
And everybody,
today,
mostly
you have
everybody
to be today because you're kind of, with all the things that's going on in people's life, particularly with students, we're just happy that they want to be there. You know, they're coming to us with ideas and solutions to make us better at the organization, and that's really great, and then we like to hear that. So, we're looking forward to taking on some more kids in the future.
So I wanted to ask you one more question, and you guys, if you have any, but one was, as a parent now, you have Tommy and Jack here.
And Jack, yeah.
So what was it? I mean, you're a Westfield High guy, graduate.
Yeah.
What was it that you sort of felt like it was to give the opportunity to the kids to come take a look here, and what made them decide to come here?
Well, the hardest part was to get over my wife's situation. She was a Cathedral Panther, so
me too.
So it was like, how do you navigate that? And then Father Brian got his hooks into the kids. We went to St. Mary's for a while. But I always went back to, I spent a lot of time here at this school when I was in office, both as a counselor and as mayor. And, my grandfather was one of the first graduates of this school in machine technology at the time at the old St. Mary's High School.
But he's one of the Bartlett boys?
Yeah. He is. So he went on to have a great career as a supervisor, a Pratt & Whitney machine supervisor, particularly during World War II and whatnot. And somewhere along the way in my father's generation and in my generation, the skills gene got skipped. And I always believed, when I was going through school, I did not like school. I didn't like to read. I didn't like to put in a lot of the extra effort you'd want to do. I kind of slid through, right? I know that's a terrible role model thing, but it was true. And I always felt I would have excelled at a school like where I could have put my hands, my head, and my time to work and learn something. Because in my afterlife now as a parent, but before that, I got into like small motor repair, doing stuff around the house, and I always enjoyed that. And I said, with the world being what it is, one thing you can never take away from somebody is the skill that you can actually make something with your own skill in your hands and your mind. And I wanted my kids to be able to have that opportunity so they don't feel like they would be short-sighted on that. And then if college is what you want, because I remember asking my dad when I came out of high school, I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to take some time off. And he said, no, I'm paying, you're going. He goes, I went into the Marine Corps, you don't have to do that. And I said, that's a pretty good deal. You're going to pay, I'll go and figure it out. And I wanted my kids to have the similar kind of thing. And then what really sparked them was when the aviation program came. From a young age, they've been a big part of Barnes Airport, and Joe Mitchell and Brian Barnes and all. They've been around that atmosphere a lot. And Thomas is there now, doing great. And I think that's wonderful because Jack might end up there as well potentially. And to kind of go full circle 3 generations later, their grandfather made aircraft motors for 50 years. You know? And so I can't say enough. I am a huge proponent of the school. I wish we could have more programs and do more things. I am concerned as a taxpayer and as just a general citizen that, there's probably kids that can't make it here now that would have a great career here, but because of the competitive nature, it's a challenge. You know? But I can't say enough about the experience. It's wonderful, and we're having a great time being parents.
2 things I struggle with the most. I'd like to be able to take more kids, and I wish we could offer more programs, but we're confined by our current space limitations.
Incidentally, when he was Mayor Knappich, he was the first mayor to give a little extra at the time. Remember we
Ray Broderick, let me hear about that.
well, it was we bring money in on tuition. And it
you
goes
do
to
a
this-
lot of money. It was over $1 million every
Right,
year.
and
yeah.
every year
that's
it
the
is.
curious thing. Out of 13
Yeah.
schools, we're the only one that actually generates revenue for the
And
city.
Dan, when he was in office, was the first one to say, "Hey, recognizing that we bring a lot of money to the city, here's a little bit of it."
Yeah, we used to give up-
bought technology
Yeah, a
out
lot
of
of
it.
technology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
you know,
great.
I remember going to my very first as mayor, like walking around the shop.
Yeah.
It's usually in January with the school committee.
Yes.
And I was heartbroken. And, and these asks, we didn't have a lot of money back then in government, but it was like, it was the right thing to do to make sure that our kids had the equipment, the materials, the supplies they need to go forward. The administration took care of the rest. They recruited top-notch teachers. And, obviously Westfield High School is near and dear to my heart, but this school for so many years was underfunded. And it was a problem to me that needed to get fixed. And we did. I thought we brought the
It did.
program a long way.
Yeah.
And there's always more to do, though.
Well, the struggle here is that yes, it's school, but the reality is that there are 12 small businesses operating under this roof.
That's right.
And businesses have capital expenditures that they need to make regularly in order to stay competitive and current. And, very often, as we know, government works in at a very different pace from business and industry. So
Yeah.
it's trying to sync those two up that's always the challenge.
Well, we definitely appreciate all the efforts you've given us in the past, and
Absolutely.
definitely for now as president of the PVO, you've definitely with the help from the scholarships from last year and the whole Rob thing, and you've taken it to a new level with us,
Yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
and hopefully the kids are having a good time here.
Yeah, they're killing it in sports, right?
yeah.
The golf team went out, won the league. My kids
Oh, yeah.
walked down to the golf team. They
Is
first
he
time
doing
they played.
basketball? Both of them
They're
going to do
both
basketball?
in basketball
Perfect.
now, and then they can't wait to get back on the baseball team.
Yeah,
I know
that's
both
great.
of them, so yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, and
Thank you.
Are we done with
Absolutely.
Mr. Knappich? Guys,
Unless you haven't. I hope we're not done with him. No, I mean.
no, we're not done with him.
I will say this: one of the things that I missed out on when I was in office is I didn't have a lot of contact time with the academic side teachers. At open house a while back, I got to meet a number of my kids' teachers. I just wanted to say, what a pleasure it was to be able to talk to them, their dedication to the kids. And my kids are having a fabulous time. They're loving the academic side of things. And that says a lot about the culture, the administration, to provide an atmosphere where a kid walks off of that, and he's not crying about going back to academics after the week
Right.
after shop. And the staff has done a great job. And that's one of the things I know. They come to work every day. They're not the ones typically like in the pictures with Skills USA or all these other things, but every day they're coming to work doing the job of providing that academic thing. And what's interesting when I talk to other parents about where our kids go, a lot of parents are still like, oh, you can go to college from that school? And I always tell them, I said, the game changer for these schools was school ed reform in '93. Once MCAS went into effect, they're tested the same on the same talent
right.
level in the sophomore year, and they got to get by that. Plus, though, they've got to get by their proficiency program for their skill. I said, so if that doesn't earn you an opportunity to
And
go
they're
on to
earning their
college-
competency determination at approximately 78 to 80% of the time that their
Yeah.
colleagues at the high school are.
Right. So they're
crushing it.
I always say, so that speaks volumes of the caliber of student that's here because they're getting through the MCAS, they're doing great on that, and then they're doing awesome on skills. And they're just, I can't say enough about the student that comes through this school and what they can contribute to society. And of course, all of us know in town a number of graduates that have had fabulous careers, and and we're so fortunate that we have that support in the community. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't need to tell us that. I mean, I've been here a long time now, and we have. What year for you, Carol?
This is
Six.
my 6th year.
Yeah. So.
Best place I landed.
Yeah.
And it's a valid point with the academic teachers. I mean, the kids aren't coming here to have Mr. Moore in history,
Right.
or something like that. And they do a great job keeping the kids
They do.
motivated, engaged, and we're all on the same page here for the most part. So it's a great thing.
So if I could be reincarnated, I'd come back to be like Mr. Talumis and have that job. I'd love to be able to do that every day.
That would be a hard one to
I
duplicate
was
right
gonna
there.
ask
Mr.
that
Talumis
question.
has a beautiful
What
life.
would
I
you
know.
here as a shop, but coming back
you go.
as Mr.
The
Talumis
director.
as the director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Director.
You listening to Dan Knappich. Thanks for joining us, Danny.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely have to have you on again,
Yeah.
right? Talk more PVO stuff. And,
Yeah, I'd love to talk hoops with Al because I'm the Booster Club guy now too. For hoops.
Okay. Well, pencil yourself in. Listen to Tiger Talk Live. Let's go to a song, Pete.
I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. You got those pretty eyes in your head. You know it. You got me dancing in my bed, so let me show it. You are exactly what I want. Kinda cool and kinda not. Wanna give myself to you. Yeah, we're driving down the freeway at night. I only got one thing in the back of my mind. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I got my head out the sunroof. Oh, 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 ooh. You got me stuck on the thought of you. Oh, 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 ooh. Yeah, we're driving down the freeway at night. I only got one thing in the back of my mind. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. La da la da la 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 da la da dee da da la da 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 la la la
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio. 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Okay, welcome back to Tiger Talk Live at WSKB 89.5 on your radio, and I'm not going to look at you, WCPC Channel 15, with our guest, Christine Hupfer.
Oh, wouldn't be a party without Miss Hupfer.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
We're happy to have you.
Yes, Mr. Daly, Mr. Host.
Okay. Carol hasn't got a demerit yet today, and she earned one right there. The first was the song. What was that song that you picked, Mrs. Groom? This seems right up your alley.
Sun.
I like it.
It was very catchy.
Sunroof?
Sunroof.
Yeah,
And,
I like it.
Miss Hupfer
Yeah.
knows the song.
Oh, she
and
does?
She
was
was
catchy.
Yeah, I thought it
Who's
was
the
great.
artist?
Nikki Yor.
Oh.
And so not something that I would listen to, but it's a good background song.
Okay.
And I made an error.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, let me give you another demerit. What happened?
I changed the song, but I changed the wrong song.
Oh, okay.
So, but we'll hear the next song between the next segment.
It's
I know
fine.
Completely lost on me.
I totally threw off Mr. Langoni.
Well,
Oh,
as
it's-
So many
You
change
know,
the second
I
song,
know.
which is what I did.
Pete,
Yeah.
it was all on me. All on me.
well, that's okay. You know
Keep me
what?
guessing.
I'm giving my own self a
You know what's great about us is that
Self-demerited.
we all recognize we're human. We make mistakes. It's okay, Carol.
Yes.
And the thing that I like to do is I'm open and forgiving to a lot of things, and
But
it's-
first, I'll point them out to you.
so as your sidekick now.
Yeah, right.
So you said you wanted to run this. You wanted to run this interview with Chris. So go ahead. You take the reins here.
Interview.
Yeah.
Sounding intimidating.
Well, it's just
Okay.
it's just go ahead, Carol.
We're all friends
Christine
here, after all,
for?
mostly.
So, Ms. Hupfer, what do you do at Westfield Tech Academy?
Okay, so my role here is school adjustment counselor and substance abuse counselor. I do both.
Okay. And what does just typically what does a adjustment counselor do versus a guidance counselor, which is what I am?
So adjustment provides services to students for social emotional issues, mental health, and then on the substance abuse piece, I do some intervention, prevention work. Yep.
Okay. And so speaking of the intervention, prevention work, what's forthcoming that you have that flyer right there in front of you?
Okay, great. So this is great. I'm excited to share. Although I know it sounds not like the most uplifting topic. However, it's an important one, and I look at it as hopeful in providing some prevention education for our youth. So coming up on Tuesday, December 13th from 6 to 8 p.m., we have an event that the DA's office will be coming in and facilitating for us on preventing accidental overdose, counterfeit pills, and what you need to know.
Great. Now, are the kids going? I know that the community's welcome, but are the kids going to be exposed?
Yes, so we're going to be doing some assemblies prior to that. That will be facilitated by myself, Lieutenant Eric Hall, who oversees the community policing unit and the resource officers in our schools, along with Carrie Fiorucci will be facilitating with Eric Hall up at the high school. Next week and the week after, leading up to this event, and showing a film to our students and offering some discussion after that.
I understand there's going to be some table setups outside of the program. Can you explain a little bit more about what those will be?
Sure. We'll have quite a few resources, actually, that are, we're about up to a dozen resources that are going to come in and set up some tables to provide information about the services that are available in our community to our youth and young adults.
And that's at the evening program, not during the
Correct.
student assemblies.
Yep. But at the student assemblies, we're going to have Lieutenant Hull will be on the panel for debriefing and discussing the film, as well as an EMT and a recovery coach from the community.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all grades will be going to these assemblies?
Correct.
Okay.
9 through 12. Yep.
So you need administration to help set that up, I guess, huh?
That would be great. Absolutely.
We've already talked.
Yes. Anything else that you'd like to add about your programs?
No, I just.
You're doing great, Mrs.
Yeah.
Cole. I just want to. I know you have really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
We've thrown it impromptu to you, and you have really brought it home.
Well, okay.
So good work.
The one thing you haven't done yet is give him a demerit.
I deserve one right there if I'm being fresh. I know my
Yes,
dad's gonna be mad at me.
I'm holding it back on air.
Is Mr. Daly with us this morning?
He probably is. He's an avid listener. He's one now. Chris, this is actually really. Obviously, I see this picture. I know the newest thing was they were sending out these pills that looked like candy, right? Something like that.
Skittles.
Well, they're attractive looking
Yeah.
for kids. You know, they're
They look like
colored.
candy?
Yep. But the other piece to this is the fentanyl is also laced and mixed in with other drugs. So, say a young person thinks they're buying Adderall off the street or Xanax because they just want to experiment. It could potentially be tainted with fentanyl.
You literally don't know what you're getting.
And it could be a lethal dose in one pill. That's and you know our overdoses in this community have risen. You know, that's been pointed out. Lieutenant Hall, we recently did an interview with Amy Porter from Mass Live, Westfield News, and you know he pointed out we're in an uptick of fatalities just since August, and it goes back to the concerns around fentanyl.
And would you say that at this age, would you even go as far as middle school, that kids are
at risk,
possibly
absolutely
getting exposed to things like this?
Absolutely, yeah, because they, you know, if it looks attractive,
Right.
you don't know what it is, you know, definitely they could potentially be at risk. Yep.
So that's Tuesday open to the public. Tuesday, December 12th?
13th.
13th.
Okay, December 13th.
Yes, and we want.
So the
it's open to
public event
community.
is the week after next. Our assemblies are next week.
Okay,
for
so
our
we'll have the
students.
assemblies for the kids. Will be this coming up next week,
and then the following week. Yep.
and that'll be up at Smith Ave, the upper campus of Westfield
Okay, in
Tech,
the auditorium,
in our
right.
auditorium. And do we have a start time for that?
For 6 o'clock.
6 p.m.
Yeah, we'll be
open to the public of anybody in the
Absolutely.
in the city that wants to come.
And we really encourage parents and guardians to come. You know, the landscape of the drug culture has changed dramatically just in the last few years, and it's more riskier than ever for our young people, you know, that might experiment or dabble. So, yeah.
Great.
Well, I think it's a great idea that you guys are doing this and playing this with Carrie Ferdelici.
Yeah.
And
Shout
work.
out to Carrie. And
Yeah, Carrie Ann Ferdelici. I saw that was in the article. I didn't know we went by the middle names there. And Lieutenant, was it Lieutenant Hall?
Lieutenant Hall.
Yeah. So thank you to the Westfield PD for helping us out
Absolutely.
with that, and we're looking forward to a nice assembly, informative assembly next week, and then the event at 6:00 p.m.
On the
at Westfield
13th.
Tech on the 13th.
Absolutely.
So thanks for impromptu coming
Yeah,
on, Chris.
sure.
And
Thank you,
yeah,
Chris.
Thank you for inviting
you
me.
become such a, professional about it. You just
Yeah.
let it
Oh,
roll.
I don't know about that.
You
You know-
are. You're doing
Very
great.
You know what?
far-reaching media personality
Oh,
at this
boy.
time.
Yes, you are.
And remember, if you like what you've seen or listening to,
correct.
like, tag, share, or follow us on WSKB Radio, because it's funny because Chris Huffer was the first one to put our numbers over 100 when we had her on the show, Joe, remember? And
Nope.
that was her claim to fame
Yep.
until
I
you
don't
were
know.
knocked off by
Nobody does it better.
by Mrs. Curdo. So hopefully the numbers will
Oh, Mrs.
spike.
Curdo.
Get the
Okay.
word out
Yeah.
that you're on again today,
Okay,
and we'll see if
thank
we
you.
get
Click,
we get the
share,
numbers
pair, whatever.
Think,
I
pair,
missed out
share.
what you said.
up. Okay.
That's his tagline.
We're gonna go to a quick break right now with to come back with a little
Something-
sports talk,
Something different musically.
Yes. Yes.
different music. We're ready for the next song, Pete. We'll be back with Tiger Talk Live.
Can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say. I speak a little louder, I'll even shout. You know that I'm proud and I can't get the words out. I wanna be with you everywhere. I wanna be with you everywhere. Something's happening to me. My friends say I'm acting peculiarly. Come on, baby, we better make a start. You better make it soon before you break my heart. I wanna be with you everywhere. I wanna be with you everywhere. Can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say. Come along, baby, we better make a start. You better make it soon before you break my heart. I wanna be with you everywhere. I wanna be with you everywhere. I wanna be with you everywhere. I wanna be with you
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Yeah, welcome back to Tiger Talk. You're listening live at 8:47 a.m. December 1st, the 1st of December.
It is the
We
1st
just
of
had a
December.
great segment. Mrs. Groom led the way with that. The little birdie was pushed out of the nest, and boy, did you land. You nailed it.
Yeah, right on my face.
No, no, you did great. We just had Chris Hupfer on. She's talking about a what is that title of that we're having on that Tuesday night? Is there a title to it?
Mrs. Groom's got the flyer.
Preventing accidental overdose.
Okay.
Counterfeit pills and what you need to know.
Informative session up at Westfield Tech on the 13th at 6 p.m.
6 o'clock in our auditorium. That's
So
right.
make sure if you have a chance and you got an opportunity to go check that out, that'd be awesome. We just had Dan Knappich on from our PVO, who was great, raised a lot of money from our craft fair, and now, as you all know, it is sports time.
It is sports time, and
We're waiting patiently for our host of sports, Al Rogers,
very unlike Al.
but who we do have is Vincent Escarpita, who joined us a few weeks ago. Vince, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
Make sure you get up close to the
Host sports anchor, Vince.
Yeah,
Paging
and
Al Rogers. Al Rogers.
so
Paging Al Rogers.
I want to talk quickly. Actually, our restaurant is not open today. It was
We were
open yesterday.
right?
And next week we should be back
I
to
think
a
there's
regular
2
schedule.
days next week, and
Okay.
then there's a buffet the following week.
Okay.
But that's it. They have a lot of catering events.
Yeah.
Very
So,
aggressive catering
yeah.
schedule this year.
And incidentally, Joe, did you see that News 40 was here?
I did.
To
Oh, there's Al.
I sure did.
and they did a town by town last night.
I sure did.
And they highlighted our restaurant. So that was great.
That's awesome.
And coming in like a hurricane is our
Al
coach.
Rogers, I haven't seen you in a fat minute.
Our microphone right here. Now you can keep that one, Vince, and we'll have Al
If
do the
you will.
microphone. We got a lot of sports to talk about. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. Great to have you, Al. What's been going on, bro? What's
Oh,
going
that's
on?
not on.
Oh,
Try that. Okay. Well, let's. We'll have to share the mic then, huh, Vince?
Yeah.
That's not working. Oh, now we're on.
Oh, it works now?
Yeah, now we're live.
All right.
Okay, so Al, good to have you here. I see you're sporting the Giants hat. Why?
I don't know.
Still
They're on.
cheering for 'em?
Vince has told me they're on a downfall.
Yeah.
I think I believe that right
dreaming
now.
the impossible dream, Mr. Daly.
So we didn't get a chance, Al. When you were out, we sort of rushed Vince off the show because we had two great
we were
guests
running
on.
out of
yeah,
time.
we were running out of time.
Not-
We didn't. Yeah,
not
we didn't rush
because-
him off.
Yeah, it wasn't your fault, Vince. We
No,
were running out
that
of
was
time.
my fault. Well, again,
Yes.
we make mistakes and we just,
Yes.
get through them.
Yes.
This is live. This is
Live
a live
TV.
program here. So.
Yeah.
Guys, we're not the #1 show on community radio just because we do everything perfectly. We're
That's-
human.
that's
That's what
right.
people like about us.
Correct.
Wait till our billboard goes up. So, Vince,
We're
tell us-
human.
Vince, tell us about donate to the Human Fund. Vince, tell us
That's
about
here.
what's going on with sports. Want to do a little NBA update for us because we had a lot going on in NBA, and Al, you're more than happy to jump in. Let's Vince, what's going on in the NBA?
Well, Celtics on a 5-game win streak right now.
Yeah.
After the win last night, Tatum 49 points.
49.
I'm pretty sure he's the MVP already.
Well, what? Really? What
Mhm.
about your boy Steph? Well, I got another name for you guys about MVP, and Carol, you know who this is. A1 Devin Booker, who had 51 last night, 20 from 25 from the floor, and he didn't even play the fourth quarter. Now you got to be talking about him MVP a little bit too, right?
Okay, yeah, but I still think Tatum's #1 right
Yeah,
now.
I would too. But
So-
and actually, Mrs. Groom, I forgot who Devin Booker played for who?
For,
Okay.
Phoenix Suns.
Yes,
Oh.
there you go.
Hey, we asked you that question in previous weeks. That's
no,
why.
that's not. I didn't remember
We weren't bugging you about it on purpose, though.
Yeah.
So-
But so the Celtics won. They I don't even know what are the 4 losses on the year right now.
They're I think they're like 18-4, 19-4 or something.
They are runaway train right now. The only better team in professional sports would be the Boston Bruins.
Right now.
Right now. I mean, they're rolling just like that. I think they haven't lost a game on the ice in Boston yet. I think they're like 13-0 in Boston.
Yeah,
They're
probably.
Probably.
But it's early.
12 and 1.
12, oh, they're 12 and 1. Okay,
It's
good.
early yet.
But they lead
Okay.
the whole NHL. They're
Mr. Daly,
first place.
it's early for hockey.
Well, yeah, aren't they what, like 18 and like what 3-2 something like that?
What else is going on?
What's
Vince?
left? It's like
Are we-
700 games left in the season.
Yeah,
right?
bro, you can't get that excited. I mean, there's still 1,000 games left in the season, so.
Vince, good. So we're watching the Celtics. Hopefully they keep it going. No Jaylen Brown last night, correct?
Yeah.
Is he hurt?
I don't know. I think he's just out right now.
He's just out.
Maybe just give him a little bit of rest, probably. So.
Yeah. But what else is going on, Vince?
We got some injuries NBA. I know Carl Anthony was out. That's going to be huge for them.
The cat.
Yeah, cat. And then we got Ben Simmons out for the Nets. So
Ooh.
I didn't even know he was playing again.
yeah, he's out for 3 games though. So nothing.
Ben Simmons is a mess, but I don't know.
What do you mean by mess, Al?
I know. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's like.
He was not a big hit in Philly, and then he comes to Brooklyn, right? Are we talking about that? Is that who we're talking about?
Yeah.
And Carl Anthony Towns is out too right now?
Yeah, he's out.
Okay.
He'll be out for a little
Nice. Any baseball talk, guys?
Yes.
Judge is supposed to make his decision next week.
Hey, back that mic off just a hair because you're really loud.
Yes.
He did get an offer from the Yankees.
He did. Well,
Yeah.
Do we know what the number was?
8 years, $300 million.
Yeah, around there.
That's all.
That's it. 8 years,
Paltry.
$300 million, and he didn't say yes yet.
Well, no,
correct?
because actually he's supposed to be next week is his decision because the winter meetings are next week. So.
Okay.
And Rule 5 is coming up.
Yep.
So Rule 5 is up December 7th.
Tell us about Rule 5.
This is a draft.
Oh, okay.
That's basically it.
For
Okay.
first year players, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Any hot takes in baseball or basketball before we move on to football?
I mean, I had to watch the Warriors and Mavericks game the other day, and that was when I got back from tryouts. That was not fun. Let's just say our team is not playing well this year.
You say your team, the Warriors,
Yeah,
correct?
Steph drops like I don't know. I can't even keep track because he's just carrying the team on his back. And then Luka Doncic is just insane. You know?
Yeah.
I think he had a triple double.
No MVP talk for him?
No, he's up there too. No doubt about it.
Okay.
He's the reason why the Mavericks are playing well right now is Luka in my book. And what's the other?
The Mavericks, Carol, actually, what town are the Mavericks in?
I should know this, but I don't.
Guys.
Chicago.
Same time as the Cowboys, Dallas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dallas.
He's getting mad at you.
I'm sure he's getting. I would
No.
get mad with
No,
myself. too.
it's great. So, so everything's rolling well. Let's talk Westfield Tech sports for a second. We just started after Thanksgiving. All you guys always know that's winter sports start. Either of you guys participate in athletics here at Westfield Tech?
I'm doing basketball.
Vince, anything for you?
No winter sports.
No winter sports. Okay.
I tried to get you in winter sports, but
How are we looking for basketball tryouts? What are the numbers there, Al? For Heard they're big.
overall we had like 32 people try
That's
out.
fantastic. It's probably the largest number of kids we've had try out ever.
Today I'm pretty sure is the last day I think.
Okay, you think there'll be cuts? Excuse me.
Sadly,
Mr.
sadly
Ed
yes. I
South
don't really like that, but it's kind of hard because Coach DeLue told us yesterday it's hard to make cuts when you guys have been playing great out there and just giving it your all. So.
Well, we're looking forward to a great season. I know the girls
I'm
have.
looking forward to some spirited competition between Westfield Technical Academy and my son's alma mater, St. Mary's.
Mary's.
It's always a rivalry between in any sport with Westfield Tech and St. Mary's, so I'll be fine.
Al, if you do match up against Joseph Langoni, we're gonna have to throw a little wager down. I'll give you a power rate if you can swat him. Yeah. But I'm gonna offer the same deal to Joseph as well. So not to provide any favoritism.
He's very fond of you, Mr. Daly. You gotta remember that.
Product of Bomber Pride, so
That's right.
we got a little vested interest in Joseph over there. So girls basketball is going strong. We also have skiing, we have swimming, we have wrestling, we have
hockey,
ice hockey as well. So everything that's Westfield Tech is finally at a point where we're almost offering every sport as a traditional high school will offer. And in the past, we couldn't say that. So that's a product of our numbers being up and also
interest.
Different kids coming to the school that are participating in this. Okay, what we've all been waiting for the last few minutes is some NFL football talk, right? So in the past, we've done some picks before. Vince, why don't you give us a little rundown of what's going on in the NFL? Who's the hot team? Who's not the hot team?
I gotta. I don't know. That's not a hot team.
Who?
Broncos.
Giants? Oh, the Broncos. Okay.
Oh yeah, the Giants too.
Yeah. The Broncos are imploding right now, right? Yeah. Who's the quarterback for the Broncos, guys?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson signed a big contract to go play there, and he's just not getting
It's
it done.
just not
is he?
working out. I don't think it was a good fit.
You think the coach is on the hot seat over there?
I think he's gonna leave.
I think they're getting fired. So, well, not fired, but I feel like they're gonna have to clean house because everyone expected big things out of Denver this year, and that didn't work.
And Russell Wilson's probably not going anywhere, right?
No.
So, what's next? Get new coaches, right?
Yep.
Any other disappointment teams that we see so far?
Well, everyone expected big things, and no one expected big things with the Giants, but I think right now they're on the downfall. But this is a huge game for them this week. If they lose, then the playoff race is going to be really big for them, especially that San Francisco's there now, Philadelphia's there, Minnesota's there. The Bucs had a really big downfall against the Browns this week. No one expected that. Tom Brady, what happened, man? Jeez.
Vince, anything on Tom? You're a Tom Brady fan, aren't you?
Nah, I can care less if he retires next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you a Patriots fan?
No, I'm a Seahawks.
Seahawks fan.
Well, you must be happy then. They're playing pretty good.
Yeah, they're all right. More than I expected. So.
Well, we got a lot going on, and unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, Joe, when we had Al on, he was talking Giants. He was talking Giants running the table. Nobody's touching them. Then they followed that up with a loss
That was the last time
Detroit,
and
then a loss to Dallas, and
I knew we were gonna lose that because we had no one playing.
So let's get to the picks, guys, and we'll. So last week, the week we did, week 11. Joe, you weren't here, so we didn't get picks for you. Right? But Al had 2 wins that week. Carol had 2 wins, and you'll remember, Carol, that you and I were tied.
Yeah.
And I had 3 wins.
I know.
So we're 1 game up. So here's the games for this week's before we roll on. So tonight is the big one, Vince. What do you think about tonight? Buffalo versus New England. What are we watching?
I think Buffalo is just gonna another wild card game. I think
at Buffalo, by the way, and it's probably not going to be warm. Joe, what's the weather up in Buffalo?
It's cold, and we thought it was windy here. It's more.
I've heard it's in Gillette.
No, it's.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh, at New England. You're right. My bad. You're right. Good, Al. That's why you're on. That's why you're an expert.
I knew that.
Windy, I'm sure. Then in New England. So what do we got, Vince? Who you got?
I got Bills.
Definitely when I come back from tryouts tonight, I'm definitely watching that game because we finally have a good Thursday night game.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think? Who do you think's going to come out on top on this one?
You know what? I guess I'm going to have to. You know, I mean, last week the Pats and Vikings game was like, for Pats fans, it was kind of rigged. I mean, that's what I've heard.
The game was rigged.
That's what I heard. I mean, my brother thought that the NFL was scripted apparently, which it's nowhere near scripted. It's really real. It's a professional, real sport.
Lewis thought it was scripted, but that we kept the Patriots in the game.
No, just like it didn't really make any sense last week. A couple weeks ago with the Lions and Giants, he said, and he told me, "Oh, the NFL, I think is really scripted."
Okay,
no,
all right,
it is not scripted.
All right, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
You're gonna go with Buffalo. I'm gonna pick Buffalo as well against my Pats because I'm not sure about the Pats yet. What do you got?
I'm going New England,
Okay.
Mr. Groom.
Von Miller is out.
Yes, that's a big factor. Big factor.
Joe's
I
Buffalo.
have to pick Buffalo.
Okay,
My father-in-law would never forgive me.
Another big game here, guys, is the Washington Commanders. And who's the quarterback for the Commanders who's red hot right now?
Heineke.
Taylor Heineke.
Against your floundering New York Giants.
That need a win desperately.
Yep. At New York, though, Al, right? Is that correct? At New York?
Honestly.
I think it is. So who do you like, Vince?
I'm going to go with the Commanders right now. I think Heineke's going to trot through them right now.
I'm sorry.
Al?
I have to go with the Commanders. I've really lost my faith on the Giants. So.
You are ditching your team. Wait till your father hears this.
Well,
He
he'll have
has.
to
He's
right out in the wings.
He can cry about it.
I'm picking Washington as well. The slump continues for the Giants. Mrs. Groom?
Giants.
Okay, she's
Groom, you made the wrong
loyal.
pick 'cause I know they're not gonna win.
Wow.
It's
fair,
okay.
Fair weather
I'm not
fan
gonna
Al.
follow
Mr. Langoni?
Commanders.
Okay, we're all going.
I'm not going
okay.
with Commanders.
Okay. And then also, this is a good one. Tua versus San Francisco and Jimmy G. In San Fran, by the way. Is Miami for real? I don't know. Vince, what do you got?
I got San Fran.
You got San Fran. Okay. Al?
Shout out one of my best friends, Noah Lewis. You got to go with San Francisco, bro.
And Mrs. Groom?
San Francisco.
And Mr. Langoni.
Clean sweep.
Okay, everybody. I don't know. And then finally, the Monday night game, which we should be watching too. Is Tom going to turn this team around? I mean, their division is so bad, he still could win the division, and they have a losing record.
There's some right now, like because of the seeding, and like I'm pretty sure they're still in first.
They are.
They have like one of the top seeds in the NFC right now.
Vince, what do you think?
I think Tampa's still going to win this.
You got
Tampa against who?
Against New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
You got Tampa. Okay.
I have Tampa.
And
Orleans
Mr.
is
Langoni?
hot garbage.
Okay. All right, so we got a couple different picks. I picked Tampa as well. But guys, great job. Maybe we bring Vince on again, huh, Al? Or
Yeah,
he's
go
still-
for it. No, go for it. I kind of like Vince on the show.
You do? Okay, well, we'll have to run it through Mrs. Groom because she calls us out. She's the host.
That's it. We gotta
So-
consult our production team.
That's
but
it.
I'm sure we could work something
We'll see
out.
you next time. Vince.
Great show. Thanks for joining us on Tiger Talk Live.
Have a great weekend,
Yeah,
everybody.
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank,